Hello, Abuja. Hello, Nigeria. Welcome to the 9 o'clock hour of Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid TV. Apologies. I know that at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, particularly, we shouldn't even keep you guys waiting at all. But trust me, it's definitely going to be worth the wait. My name is Martha Alu. And as always, I've got pretty ladies seated right here in the studio with me to champion the conversation that will be on this morning. Right at my, is this my left or right? Am I the only person who calculates before I say, okay, this is my left? You know, I went to school. At my left, I have Debbie Kendra Okorie, and she is a Nollywood actor. Good morning, Debbie.
Morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Since the last time we had you here, you haven't been here.
Yes, and I'm super excited to be here today. Pumped up.
Glad to have you here. And of course, at my right, I have Nenwarandon Yilmazaka. Hi, girl.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good
We're here
morning.
again.
I hear you missed me throughout, last week.
Where did you hear it from?
You might not admit
it. Might just
it.
be false
You might not. I know.
No, but of course I did.
I just
of
know.
course.
Right.
And I missed the whole table.
The whole table thing. I get it. But yes, guys, we're back and better. And today's conversation, it comes from a video that has been trending online. You know, I have tried my best as possible not to just be like emotional about the conversation, especially after yesterday's observation. You know, you cannot mix emotions with having a logical conversation sometimes. And so today, we'll just go watch the video almost immediately and we'll get right into the conversation.
Please. There's something we call dama form here. If you will not give us consent to sign, to operate on your wife, please, Oga, sign the dama form. Dama form simply means the charge against medical advice so that you will take her to another hospital. Please, Oga, please.
I was thinking maybe from my back, couple of years. Now you take care of my life.
Yes.
Well, I'm not
I am a professional, but I know my limits. We know our limits. This one is beyond our limits.
Well, there you have the video. I have so many things to say about this, especially because the fight for the rights of women have been on for quite a long time. And I do understand that we have made certain progress, but there's still more that can be done. But let's just have Kendra tell us what her thoughts are about the video.
Honestly, it's so sad to watch this video because women already go through so much, you know, and because I understand what the man is saying in Igbo, he kept telling the nurse that they should go ahead with the natural birth, that nothing is going to happen to her. And the nurse is, I don't know if she's a nurse or a doctor, trying to tell her that, they started telling him that, you know, this is what has to be done. A CS has to be conducted. So I feel very bad for the woman because she probably lacks the education on matters like this, because I don't think the husband has sole rights to, you know, signing that. She can also sign whatever document that is.
She wanted to sign it.
But the husband
kept it.
This is why you need to involve your families in your marriage, because you know, marriage is a union between two families. Do you understand? In as much as the man is paying bride price or whatever, like, he doesn't really own you. Your family own you. Do you understand? So I feel like if she has family members that have a strong say in her life, this wouldn't be happening, because she needs somebody from her own side to be there. If her mother or her father, her uncle, her brother is there, maybe somebody could fight for her, because right now she's vulnerable, she's weak, and she's in pain. There's not much she can do for herself, you know. So, and the man is very authoritative. You can tell that there's no family presence from the woman's side, you understand? So it just boils down to, you know, lack of education for me, and total control of yourself, you know, on the woman's part. And I don't know what, I don't want to say anything about the man, because you know.
I was looking at the video and I'm like, how is it that everyone is so calm with this man? I don't know why it was like towards the end they called security to come and carry him. You know, when he sent the link to me, I'm like, they should all jack this man out of here, because I don't think he knows what he's saying. I don't think he has an idea. I don't think he loves that woman
At all.
because how would you could see how she's rolling on the floor, you know, in so much pain.
Why is she even on the floor, first of all?
No, let's just
If
you know
could
how
even hear
labor
what
pains
he's saying,
can
you'll
be.
be more pained, because he's just saying outright nonsense.
He doesn't love that woman. I'm sorry. Because if you love someone, there's where you would feel when you see the person in pain.
Yes.
And then now there is something you can do to help that person, you know, relieve that pain and all of that. And you are still insisting on what doesn't even make sense. This is 2026, for crying out loud. Do we still have people who have, because now I want to, the way I'm seeing it, he's I don't know if I'll call him a traditional man. So I'm sure if you probably dig deep into his reason for insisting on a natural birth, maybe it might not be nothing more than, for my family, we all give all women from our family
Okay, marry your sisters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just marry your sisters, because let me tell you, this whole thing about my culture says, my tradition says.
My mother gave birth to the 10 of us by herself.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That. I feel like that's what's wrong with this man right now.
Do I know your
Nothing more.
mother?
Why didn't...
I don't know your mother. I'm not your mother.
Exactly.
Let's all do what our mothers did. I'll do what my mother did, and you do what your mother did. And you see, every time I say that the African tradition did the woman dirty, I will constantly say it. It is the woman who, when her husband dies, they will wash the corpse of the
Shave
man,
her head.
give her to drink, shave. Do you know all the complications that can exist from washing a corpse for someone to drink the water?
And this actually happens. Like,
It
what
happens.
she's saying is no joke. It happens.
Did you
Like,
watch the documentary of or the podcast Stella Damascus was on, where they gave her a role to act, you know, as a widow, right? She said she acted that role, and then shortly after she acted that role, her husband died. And while she was giving the script, she was like, "This is extreme. I mean, do these things really happen?
It
They
happens.
don't really
like
happen."
3
She
years
got to
ago,
see
I
it
was,
happen.
you know, in the middle of a situation like this,
Really?
where we were burying my uncle, and they needed my aunt to be there so they could shave her, do all those stuff. But she didn't turn up. She didn't turn up for the burial. She has not turned up after the burial. She's like, I'm not doing this.
What's the reason behind cutting off her hair?
I don't know. I just feel like it's this whole traditional mentality of, you know, showing somebody is dead. I don't know why you're still trying to claim rights on the woman he married. Like, she has her own life in as much as she married, you know, somebody. But I don't think anybody should go through that. It's a lot for women in the East. Like, you could be stripped of everything, and that is exactly what is wrong with this man. His traditional mentality, his cultural mentality is trying to, you know, bring him down, because what he's doing like this
Putting
is
her
gonna
life
bring,
at
yeah,
risk.
Of
you're
course.
putting your wife's what if this woman dies, or what if the baby dies, you know, you're gonna be losing.
The law will catch
No,
up
the
with him.
painful part
You know?
is, for this kind
The
of
law will
man,
not catch up with him. He will definitely
if
get
she
away
even
with it.
exactly if she
But
eventually
see-
dies from this,
Yeah.
this man will remarry.
So the thing is, there are legal consequences to this, because in fact I had that written all over here. If a man refuses to sign a consent form for his wife's years, the truth is the wife can sign the form. But in an instance where the wife is not conscious enough to sign the form, there are alternatives. And if the man refuses, the hospital can use its legal team, you know, to make him make that decision. And in an instance where the child dies or the woman dies, there are legal consequences for the man. If he refuses to sign, They said endangerment and negligence by blocking a life-saving procedure due to stubbornness, pride, or misinformation. The man is neglecting his duty of care. So, to some extent, they might, because you could hear you could hear the nurse saying that, okay, sign this. This is an act that says you give consent for this woman and this child. Anything happens to them, you will take responsibility for it. And if it eventually happens, the law will catch up with you.
I think at the end, there was another doctor who came in. I was explaining this to him, that do you know that if you don't sign this and something happens to this woman, you will be held responsible for it.
But that's only if
his head was there.
If you fight for it, but if there's nobody to fight for it, or if the hospital is not willing to
just be
fight for
under the
it,
carpet.
you know, because he's a very stubborn man, as you can see. You know, if the woman dies or something, he will just take the body and whatever is left and just go. I don't think he would. He's a very stubborn man. So if there's nobody to file for her, or the hospital does not file, he's gonna go
free. And this takes us to the next part of the conversation, which will be the kinds of conversations that we have before we get into marriage.
Please.
See, over the years, it has become increasingly imperative that you do not leave any stone unturned. Even the tiniest of conversations, you should have. You know, because if you don't have this conversation,
emotional intelligence
is super important. Because tell me why I will ever think in my wildest imagination that I am in the middle of a life and death situation, and my husband would rather preserve his culture rather than preserve my life.
Because I don't know.
So what kind of conversations do people have before they get into relationships?
None. They don't have these conversations. Trust me. Everybody's like just rushing into that. And that's the problem, you know, because when you rush into it, you get into more trouble than you expected. Marriage is already a lot as it is. You don't want to go in there blind without the right information and knowledge. Not like I know anything, I'm not married, but it scares me. I have 8 aunts. They are all married, and trust me, I've seen it all. Like, I've seen it all. Marriage is not even the topic I go. I'll leave that to you guys. I don't even know.
I mean, we're all here to.
I mean, because and you see, it's narratives like this that we keep seeing. I do know that they're beautiful marriages. I know that they are wholesome marriages. In fact, some of us came from that kind of marriage where, you know, your rights are upheld. So it's even very alien when I see that it's a topic of discussion that someone should do CS. And some people don't even do operation at all. I've seen it. It's the same internet. They'll tell you, in my place, we don't do operation. For some religious reasons, for some traditional reasons. And you see where it is sick. A certain congregation came together and decided that to do blood transfusion is evil and it's a sin. Nobody should do it. Then fast forward to many years later, after so many deaths, after so many complications that could have been solved by transfusing blood, then they come out to say, now people can do blood transfusion. So what if the culture that you are hell-bent on dying on, what if it fades tomorrow? What then becomes your source of value? On what ground or what basis would you make certain decisions? So you see, in fact, you see that part of conversation that you should have, just hold on to it. Which village are you from? What do people believe in? Because let me tell you, there's a place for my village where if as a woman you get married today and you have this ex and you're very cordial with the ex, but let's say issues like you guys have AS is a blood group that you guys cannot marry from, right? So you cannot marry, but you guys are good. You know that you like each other. Now I get married to somebody else, and in that marriage, I notice that we're struggling, right? And you, on the other hand, is doing very well. You could give me a job, you give my husband a job, you could give me a loan. If I collect that money, there's something that they believe in that culture that will kill me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can't take it. In fact, there are certain cultures, and you know the sick thing is, while you are getting married, they will not tell you. They will just give you kola nut to eat. Then you eat the kola nut, and that becomes a binding agreement. So at what point would decisions stop being made for women? Like, I'm very curious.
You know,
at what point?
In my family, we have people that go do this digging for us. I mean, there's, even if you do your diggings and investigations and whatever, there are still some things you cannot find out.
You won't find
At that, you have to already be in the marriage to find out. So, but we have people that do all of those things for us. Your
till date.
yes,
Yes,
If
you
you're-
can send.
Yes, my very young cousin just got married. Like she was very young, about 20 years when she got married, 3 years ago. So we had someone go to her husband's family, a spy. It's not like they're gonna know. Just send a spy there for about 2 weeks, find out and get informations and all of that. Just the vital informations that we need. But you can't really tell one's character until you have really lived with them and all of that. But like you said, it's very important that we have these discussions. Honestly, for me, if I'm going to be getting married, I don't want to leave any stone unturned, and they really need to stop deciding for us, speaking for us. We need to be involved in those decision making. Do you understand? You can't tell a woman what's best for a woman when you're not a woman. That's the truth. And everybody is different. My mom cannot know what exactly is best for me. She only knows what's best for me as a parent that she is. But me as a full-grown adult, I know what suits me best. Yeah. So, and it will surprise you that these things are still happening in 2026. Everything she said.
Is this not
still
20?
happens.
Is this 2026? This just happened a few days ago.
Deep,
So I think although I could also say things are getting better now, but before now, well, calm down. Before
I
now,
feel like we're evolving. I feel like the whole thing that happened before is evolving into newer patterns.
in a well,
So it's
now repackaged.
exactly. It's having newer ways to present itself. That's what I think.
That's how life is. Old fashions get
are still coming
repackaged
back, yes,
and
but anymore. Yeah. So what I wanted to say was, still boiling down to courtship and knowing the person before getting to this point. Because I was also looking and I'm like, I could just imagine and picture what their dating period was
I
like,
don't think
and
they
you'll be
dated.
shocked that. Well, they probably did, but you'll be shocked that they barely really spoke about. Like now, when I mean barely really spoke, we still have people who in a relationship, the only thing they talk about is how are you, have you eaten, oh, what, and that is it. They don't get to have those deep conversations where you don't even need to ask some certain questions, but from the response of the person, you already know whether or not this person is actually going to be something like this. That's the truth, because I feel like for people like this, it's almost really easy, because you could tell that his ego was all over the place in that video.
He's an Igbo man. What do you expect?
Well, not all. It's our brothers. It's our brothers. I've met Igbo guys.
You can't stream my brother's ego. Igbo men, you cannot stream their ego.
No, but I've met Igbo guys that at least
pretending to you.
they've been intentional.
But
They're intentional about being a better version.
They are women. There's this mentality they have that if you want to know
If he has some money,
it's on a woman, you'll be able to.
Yes.
But trust me, their ego, when he wants to kick in like this, there's nothing. There's nothing.
And I feel like that's one of the key things you need to look out for during that courtship period, and be able to sit and ask yourself, okay, do I still want to go ahead with someone like this?
Did they, that's what, see, do you know the painful part? These people can meet in 2 months, and then they go to church and testify that they met the bones of their bones. These days, nobody, I'm serious.
My best friend.
Nobody even goes to do due diligence. Personally, I have siblings who got married. They went to a 6-month, almost a year-long class. That doesn't, but that doesn't change the fact that there are newer characters that will be exhibited in the marriage. But at least that period prepares you for something. Like, there are scenarios that will play out sometimes that you would see. I'm like, nah.
Exactly.
This I might not be able to work with. But this days,
they say love is blind, right?
Which
this
blind?
is what happens
And
when
that's
you
why
close
you
your
fall.
eye and you get yourself here.
Is also deaf and dumb.
So you can't speak. You can't talk.
That's the problem. And you see, we keep entering into these things abruptly, without proper knowledge, without being equipped properly, and then you see the rate of divorce here and there. And these same people, and the most painful part is they are the loudest on social
Of
media.
course.
They'll come and tell you marriage is bad. It's your marriage that was bad. Marriage is not good for young people. It is your own marriage that turned out like that. But it becomes the most popular opinion because most people are going through it because they lacked due diligence. The truth is, if such a thing happens to me, of which it will not, right? If it happens, do you know what the pain of that labor can do? If that woman should find 5 minutes to stand up, you know that that man is gone. Like, you don't know what that kind of pain can propel a person to do. But in an instant like this, I guarantee you I'll not be the only person in that hospital.
That's exactly what I said.
But do you know that the woman squatting in front of the wife, the nurse called her a mother-in-law. Now we don't know if it's his mother
Obviously
or
his mother.
So she's part of the culture that he's trying to uphold.
That's what I said when we started. I was like, you know, you need to involve your family in your marriage. Like, they need to come once in a while looking or, you know,
to see what's going on there.
You can't, a lot of women do this. Like, I have a friend that got married and she badmouthed her family to her husband and all, and now they moved to Lagos. Things are not going so well. She can't call her people and ask for help. You know, the man could be beating her, killing her, whatever, but nobody's going to come save you because you've already, you know, caught that. You need to involve you, especially the men and the women that have madness in their head. Someone like me, I've come to my sister's house as the husband. I'll be nice to you, but I'll also show you that if you try rubbish, you will get it hot too. You know, we need people to stand for us because this marriage thing, it only, I don't know, but it favors the men mostly because they're the ones getting everything. Children, care, forever.
They're not going to like this at the MCR, but yeah, a lot of people have said this, that most men tend to have more advantages. But if you ask a man, what's the benefit of marriage to a woman? He'll be like, oh, she'll be taken care of. But the truth is, how many women are actually taken care of in their marriage? I feel like sometimes there's a certain lady, you know, Obidi. She's very popular on TikTok, you know, Obidi. She has come out to say she's a feminist. In fact, herself and the likes of Solomon Buchi are always at it with each other, always dragging each other. Oh, he claims that she's making young people to prostitute. She claims that she's opening the eyes of young people, telling them what they need to do and what they need to all of that. And there's something she always says in some of those posts. She says that see, marriage is very transactional. Now, maybe it's not from the exact point she's looking at it. She says you need to go in there with a good bargain. You don't go in there without a bargain. Exactly. So if you go in there as someone who, like you said, someone badmouthed their family. If a person knows that you are alone, you don't have any sort of backing, anything can easily happen to you in that kind of marriage.
You're placing yourself in a vulnerable position.
Exactly. But when we both know that there are people that we answer to, you know, most likely, like anyone who knows almost immediately, like, oh, you want to beat this girl, I'm sorry, her father will come for you. Like, you already know that part. I like that it is already very established to the deaf, the blind, and whoever cares to listen, that I'm not alone in this world. I was brought by somebody who is actively involved in my life.
You don't have full rights.
So you know how to act right. That's some sort of deters a person when they have negative thoughts towards you. But when you cut off those lines, and this goes both ways, men and women. There are men that see hell in their marriage, but they cannot go back home because in their home they tell them that a man is the head of a home. He cannot go through this and that and that and that, which makes him make certain hard decisions that might not be good for his marriage. But they tell you that's what culture demands from you. So that kind of man cannot go back home, especially if he now decides that you guys don't listen to your wives. Look at how you ended. I will listen to my wife, but he also did turn out bad for me. He might not be able to go back home. So both as a man, as a woman, you need the backing of your family. Although you need to be smart when involving your family in your marriage, because sometimes third party has its own disadvantages. But just let each other know that we have the backing of families to an extent.
Okay, so I would also want to say that aside from the backing of the family, you should also go for someone who genuinely loves and values you and respects you, without necessarily being reminded that, oh, see, I have people behind me.
But some marriages were actually off on a good start.
See, emphasis on respect.
Respect and value.
And value. I'm telling you.
Because there are some spouses that they don't even need all of that. Because they already love you enough and respect you enough to know that, okay, I can't just do anyhow. So I feel why I'm bringing that up is because that's also one of the things that, you know, you really need to look out for. okay, you love me, you're saying you love me with your words, but is it really translating in your actions and
because
all of that?
that's the situation.
Exactly.
With this video.
That
you
is
can tell
This one, I don't even think it was respect. This one is
what if this was arranging marriage?
even arranging marriage is work.
Some of these men, they think they're wise. They don't want to marry from the city. They just go to the village, look for the most naive girl there. One no, there's no woman that will say no to marriage, especially in the village. You bring her, because I know someone that did that. So you bring her here and you think you can do. You paid bride price, not life price. Hello.
Exactly.
See, if you
You guys are clocking it on this sense this morning. But the truth is, for that man, I think it's even less of respect and more of kindness. I think if you have a kind partner, there are certain conversations that you won't even have, because that person always will consider your feelings first before any other thing. Or how does this make my partner feel? Damn the consequence of the culture or the tradition, but how does that? And see, we will go out on a very quick break, but when we get back, we'll talk about how women also contribute to what they're going through, especially when it comes to their choices. We also play a part, and we cannot deny that we play a part. Let's go out on that break, and when we get back, we'll keep up with the conversation. Please stay with us.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live. Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com. Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store. Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, Caesar Radio.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. We are on the conversation where a man refused to give consent for CS birth for his wife. And you know, this phrase has become so popular, always a man. Then some men will come out and say, not every man. You know, it's a very popular thing.
Men.
Always a man. It's some men, but how are we going to know when you guys are topping the charts every time we talk about cases like this? But yes, let's not deviate from what we were supposed to talk about after the break, which would be how women also contribute to this fate that we have found ourselves in. Let's hear you, Kendra.
Oh, no. No, I don't think I have anything to say right now, honestly. I need to build up to it.
We need to build up to
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe
So let's hear you.
But
How do
women
you
contribute to it in what sense? So I get the question.
Okay. Now, there's still a video of a woman. I wish we can have that displayed on the screen. She came out to say that she gave birth to her child by CS. She went through a lot. She went through sweat. She went through blood. But she did that because in her husband's family, they don't give birth with CS. And if you give birth with CS, they are going to divorce you.
Okay, so she gave birth through.
And she said that if you know you cannot do that, why do you marry into the family? So taking the attention away from the fact that this culture has subjected the decisions of a woman's body to culture, to a man, to the family of a man, and not to the woman. So how is it that every other person makes the decision about a woman's body but her? You see? So when videos like this come out, you'd see men in the comments talking about how, oh yes, that's true. If you know that, well, if you know that's the culture and you get into it still, does it make it right? Does it make the fact that you still want to get married to a person who will subject your body to their culture or their tradition. So when I say sometimes women contribute to that, is some women, because this woman, this from what the man was saying, he said that if she signs that consent form, that will be the end of the marriage. And like she has rightly said, some people are more interested in being married than being happy in the marriage. And so because time and again, a lot of women have proven that marriage is more like an ultimate goal for them, which is a narrative that a lot of people, professionals, are trying to work out right now, letting them know that you can be purposeful while you are waiting marriage. And both can coexist. Two truths can coexist, right? So this is what I mean when I say sometimes we women also contribute to this fate.
You know,
Okay. You can go ahead.
women were, you know, created to support, you know,
The man.
yeah, and it's a very important part of our life. Like, it's part of our purpose. Besides serving God, you know, we're also created to, I don't want to say serve man, but rather be of help to man in terms of companionship, most especially. So I think that most times women misunderstand this concept of being a helper to a man. Do you understand? It doesn't mean that you be submissive, yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to be a fool. Do you understand? That's why I really love the idea of education. Go to school, learn, like meet people, learn things. You know, it really help you as you progress in life. Most women, even the ones that are highly educated, PhD holders, they just want to get married. It's good to get married though, because that's why you were created. It's good to get married, but you don't lose yourself in marriage, in the process. Some women just really want to please their husband. They just want to, I don't know, but I don't know how.
Your sisters will say Morga. Morga don't like it. Morga said
you can't do everything that your husband wants you to do. You also need to have like your own mind, your own say, your own stance, especially in marriage. Do you understand? It's different when you're in a relationship, but in marriage it's very, very important. So I feel like women give men this space to act up like this because they feel like you worship them, your whole life is meant for them, but that's not the case. You have to discuss, you know, terms and conditions when it comes to how many children you want to have, the process of, you know, childbearing, you know, and other things. And most women just jump into the marriage. They don't even want to, you know, have these conversations until it's too late. At the end of the day, you see that you are married to a cultural man, a chief,
chief priest,
chief titled, how do they call it? Titled man. You know, you can't, like she said, you can't go through CS because nobody in his family went through CS. You are not his mother, you are not his aunt. Your body is different. Some people, your body can't even stand knives, razor, or all these things. You know, complications can come. Like for me, I don't take what's it called, tablets. It doesn't pass through my throat. So every medication I have to do has to be injection, and it works for me. Some people cannot take injection. So you have to know what's right for you, you know, and let your man know. Everything cannot be what my husband is, my husband that, my husband. Even the food you eat is what your husband likes that you eat. And
they go ahead to shame other young people.
Yes, you know, and I don't really like to speak on marriage. I don't, because my head is I don't know. I don't like to speak on marriage because women really do not spell it out. They don't put it there on the table for these men. You know, they allow the men to write out the entire marriage plan for them, and they just go
run with the plan.
You know, both of you are adults. You need to meet in the middle. What works for him, what works for you, what does not work. You people need to have that agreement. You know, I know women are very weak. Yeah, not weak. There's a word for it. Emotional, right? And men are more logical. Sometimes you need to wire those your emotions with some logic. You know, you need to be logical and emotional at the same time. You don't have to always be emotional. We are stronger than that emotional brouhaha. You know.
So just to add to what she has said, a large number of women just feel that the success of the marriage, you know, solely lies on their shoulders. So even it means putting their neck under the knife, you know, to be slaughtered just for that marriage to work, they are ready to do it. And they don't know that they are doing more harm to themselves than good, especially when you're now with a partner who is not even necessarily seeing the effort you're putting into wherever it is you're putting in. And just as you said, even before you get into the marriage, you should understand that you're a person of your own. You have your own dreams, you have your life, you have your body, you know, value yourself first. So when you're coming in, you should, you know, come into a marriage where you value yourself, you value your partner, and vice versa, the partner values you as well, you know. So while you're putting in the work, he's also putting in his work. I would also want to sort of like push it down to also our mothers. Sometimes when your mom sits you down to give you advice, especially when you're getting married, sometimes those are the kind of advice they tell you. They might not come out right to tell you, okay, make sure that you are always at the uncomfortable aspect of it, but they'll always tell you, you know, do whatever it takes to make the marriage work, you know, and different people will translate it differently. So at the end of the day, even if it means, oh, he said he does not want me to do CS, okay, let me just go through the pain. Oh, he said he does not like this. What about you?
I'll be damned.
Are you not a person? You know, so I feel like it just brings together some of the things we've seen, because for some people from the family they come from, you know, their mothers are like that. The mothers are always worshiping the father, doing everything he wants, and then they of course would grow up to also do the same thing in their marriage. But I mean, this is 2026. We are now in a place, in a time where, aside from what you're learning from your immediate family, there's also social media. You still have, you know, influences from different places. Right in front of you, you're seeing women who are married, who have children, who are doing absolutely well for themselves, you know, and they have a man beside them. So it's something you should also sit and ask yourself, okay, if this woman is, you know, married, she has this kind of family she's doing, then that means there's something that I should learn.
Do you know Grace Ofure? Grace Ofure, she's over time, she has proven to be one of those women that teach women that you can have it all, you know, so you can be married while you can also be chasing purpose, you know. It's
good balance.
You see, why I don't, in situations like this, I don't like to make the excuse of that's what I saw in my family, and I don't like to make the excuse of that's what my husband wants. The reason I do that is, first off, the reason I don't like to make such excuses is, did you not learn anything new apart from what you saw in your home? Like you rightly said, you would not always go with what your parents. How many of us do exactly what our parents taught us? When it becomes a negative thing, we now say we learned it from our parents. But there are other things that they did that you didn't like to do, and you automatically changed it. Who taught you to do that? You see? So I don't even like to make that excuse. The second excuse I don't like to make is, oh, the man is like that, is like that. Let me tell you something I've noticed about men. They will choose themselves. Now, you know, like how there's a certain meme that just trends everywhere at once. I'm sure you must have seen this one I'm about to talk about.
How do you know
This meme, this meme that, you know, I was talking about how men would choose themselves. So the girl, I would describe it. She's putting on a white cloth, and then she was walking beside a man, and she asked the man, why do men not marry the women that they go to club and they drink with? And then the man said, you don't submit your rough work during exams. That's what the man said. But we take our rough work to the exam hall. Not only do we take the rough work to the exam hall, we go on ahead and submit it. And somebody has told you, we don't take, and you can see it time and again. The people they party with. In fact, Brain Jotter at one point, he came out he said that, let me tell you the truth. We admire those girls we see when they do this, when they do that, they do the BBL, they dress a certain kind of way. But when we want to get married, we choose who we want. So,
all seriousness.
Personally, I think that you as a woman should choose yourself.
First, because
you cannot blame a man for not choosing you when you did not even choose yourself. So the whole matter is settled when you as a woman, you choose yourself. When a man is coming, he's coming to a woman who is fully aware of herself, who knows what she wants, and it becomes difficult to sway such a person around.
Now, ladies, listen. That's the kind of women that men value and respect.
Exactly.
What she just said
Because
now.
contrary to the whole pick me attitude of, oh, let me just do it, that's the only way I can keep this.
Yes.
You cannot keep something by always losing yourself. Because once you do not have anything to pour anymore, you become empty and nobody follows anything that
You can't
is
even
empty.
keep what doesn't want to be
You
kept.
can't even pour from an empty cup. That's the truth. If you are empty, you can't pour.
Yeah.
You can't pour anything.
Nothing
You
comes
need to be full to pour into something. And this is just the honest truth. And I think we're just going to wrap up this conversation
Yeah,
here.
you should become a therapist.
We're going to wrap up this conversation here and now. Choose yourself.
Yes, please.
Even as a man, because we cannot deny the fact that men also go through some of these things in their marriages. I know that when it comes to childbirth, it's just a woman, but there are other peculiar situations that men also go through.
Yeah.
So as a man, if you don't already know to choose yourself, choose yourself. And as a woman, if you don't know how to choose yourself, learn to choose yourself. Because if two people that are fully aware of what they want come together, they can work on a compromise to make their marriage work. But two ignorant people cannot make an informed decision.
Yeah.
And this is where we wrap it on the Girlfriend Show today. I hope you had a fantastic time, because I did. Thank you so much, Kendra, for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
I hope to see more of you here. I mean, we like the fire that you bring on here. We're not gonna lie.
I love the gossip.
Thank you so much, Nelma. I'm good to have her here almost every time. Almost every time. So this is where we wrap it up. Thank you for joining us here on Rapid TV. Remember, we are active across social media platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on X, formerly Twitter. It is at Rapid TV. On YouTube, it is at Official Rapid TV, which means that you can cut this clip and send to your girls. Remember what Kendra said, clock it, and make sure your girls clock it too.
Yeah.
You can get that on Official Rapid TV on YouTube. Like, share, comment. Remember to tell everybody about it. www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. Once again, my name is Martha Alu. I will see you tomorrow.